Hi, I'm Dr. Cole. The importance of diversity and equity to me. Oh, how boring would the world be if we were all the same? Going the same places, speaking the same language. Yeah, that's pretty lame. The Creator designed each of us so unique. That is why diversity and equity is needed with no critique. The importance of diversity and equity to me, it is essential for everyone to feel safe, seen, heard, and know that they matter. This creates a culture of inclusion where everyone can thrive. In reflection in my personal thoughts, I think about me growing up a military brat in a melting pot, embracing so many different cultures. However, that does not mean that I did not face challenges. I also grew up with parents who were a part of the civil rights movement, and that helped cultivate a perception for me. And then, not only that, experiencing racism for myself and being secluded and not included because of the color of my skin and things, even in the 90s as a student myself. So I wanted to make sure that when I came in as a teacher, that I did not be that kind of teacher to make children who don't look like me not feel included, but to also help students that look like me be inspired. So I come in with I want to say I don't have any biases, but I come into education with a background of being hurt by inequality and segregation. Well, I'm not gonna say segregation, I ain't that old, but people stereotypes. And I grew up with a parent that has segregated schools, and I'll share that with you in my historical piece. Let's go back. Let's go way back to 1954. Why are we going back to 1954, you might ask? Because it's the foundation layer in the education system for diversity for Black students to be segregated into public school systems so that they have the same opportunity as white students and other students. Yes, Brown versus the Board of Education, foundation layer. Yes. So I love to talk about the foundation because the foundation lays it and then we build from there. So what happened after that? I'm glad you asked. There was more to come because the Supreme Court declared it, do you think there was no pushback? Absolutely, there was some pushback. So then that set the stage for other laws and acts to be put in place so that this can be implemented. We're not only going to declare it, we're going to hold you accountable, and we're going to keep putting acts out there until you do it. So then we go to the Civil Rights Acts, Title 4 and Title 6. What does that do? It promoted desegregation. That's what Title 4 did. And Title 6, it prohibited discrimination in programs as far as with the funding. And these are important. And that was in 1965, I believe. Yes, 1965. And so not 1965. Because I'm not going to re-record. It was 1964. So in 1966, my mother in Marion, South Carolina, she was one of 4 students to segregate schools. So yeah, this is personal. So my mother had an opportunity to go to schools, and she went through some stuff. I don't want to get graphic, but she was mistreated very badly. I know I'm going to get graphic. She was spat on as she segregated schools. And of course, that's not the end of it because we're still fighting for equality in different sectors. Then we go to Title 5, which is 1972. That ain't that long ago when it talks about equality for everybody, no gender biases and things. So there are so many laws that Brown versus the Board of Education set the stage for. So diversity and equity is needed in our school systems still in present day. And I'm going to take you on a journey on what's going on with the current trends and all of that too. Give me a second. So there is room for error. This is real and raw. So when I said Title V, y'all, I did not mean Title V. It was actually Title IX, 1972. I do not like to give misinformation. I'm giving you facts. So which one's Civil Rights Act Title IV is what I covered. That promoted the segregation in public schools. Then I went to Title VI, which prohibited discrimination in programs. Then also set the stage for the foundation for Title IX, 1972, not 5, y'all. I'm sorry, I got beside myself. All right, and so that is gender equality in education. Okay, and also which helped with promoting also with individual disability education, the IDEA Act. So yeah. So Brown versus the Board of Education set the stage for many things. So I wanted to revisit that and come back and say, these historical events and policies set the stage for the ongoing struggles and reforms in education. While progress has been made, many of the same core issues, racial inequality, language barriers, access, and inclusion remain a central issue in schools today. So that is why we're going to the current issues and trends. There are several current issues and trends, and I just wanted to touch on at least two. I wanted to talk about the disparities in school discipline for Black students in specific, because Black students are disproportionately suspended and expelled compared to white students. The trend is the schools are adopting restorative justice and trauma-informed practices to create more equitable discipline systems. And I also wanted to say culturally responsive curriculums, connecting to history, the civil rights movement, right? The need to challenge the Eurocentric and the biased curriculum. The current issue, many students of color did not see their cultures and histories represented in what they learned. And I can attest to that because I always was looking for myself in the textbooks outside of slavery. Where are the Black people at? Me growing up in school. And then the trends is the schools are adopting ethnic studies and anti-racist education and diverse literature to reflect that, right? So I can say that right currently, I love the curriculum that we're working with in Cumberland County. Now for reform efforts, I have about 6, but I'm going to give you 3. Equity-based school funding. The purpose of this is to close the gap between wealthy and under-resourced schools. And I can speak on that because I'm at an under-resourced school and I've been to a school that had resources based off of student zip code. That's the power of equity. We all should have the same thing. All students. All right. And then another one that spoke to me is the community school and wraparound. I love this one because it talks about school partnership with local organizations to help with things like poverty, health, and trauma so they could speak to the whole child. With my counseling background, this, of course, is my heart. And then me being a data-driven person, data, transparency, and accountability. The purpose is to monitor the disparities in achievement, discipline, and access. Them being very open about reporting disaggregated data, race, gender, and disabilities, and more. The goal is to make sure that those equity gaps are closed through data. And so in conclusion, my call to action, it is imperative to break barriers that hinder the true embracing of diversity. Be the change you want to see, creating a safe place for equity and diversity.